Alright, so we move to Brett turn 3. So starting on the left, I decided to declare a charge into the crossbowman with my fast cav because um, he couldn't do a stand and shoot. I was too close to him. And I think initially I was going to have my Knights Errant going as well, and then I realized there's just nothing to be gained. I don't really want to charge into that group of flagellants because they're going to get all their attacks regardless of what I do to them, and they're going to kill a bunch of my guys. So anyway, that's what I do there. Here on the upper right, my Pegasus Knights were by the house, but they were facing this way, so they charge the flagellants so that if I lose combat against the halberdiers, the flagellants don't countercharge me on his turn. I take both these two big units into them. I'm really kind of worried about it, to be honest with you. There's, I think, 25 guys there still, and they're all strength 4. They're going to get their attacks, and they're going to get them before my attacks with my great weapon guys, and they have hatred. So that looks impressive on my part. It's not nearly so much. That's why I'm saying his list was designed very well to go against Bretonnians. So closer look there. So after combat with that fancy little combat calculator that GW put out, the let's see, the Pegasus Knights killed all but I believe 3 of the flagellants and didn't take any wounds in return. So I'm very happy with how that turned out. I lost 6 questing knights and 2 Knights of the Realm. The Knights of the Realm, if you look at that red counter, that means that they're +1 strength, +1 toughness, and that probably helped them a little bit, but losing 6 questing knights just hurts. But if you look at his unit, I did a lot more wounds than that. I put just a slew of wounds on him. So at the end of the turn, if you look at the upper right hand corner, those 2 knights laying on their side, those represent my units that are off the board. I beat them in combat, chased them off the board, and that's where I'm going to come back in on my next turn. On the left, my fast cav beat the crossbowmen. If you look at the very upper left-hand corner, those are the crossbowmen and the way they fled. And instead of pursuing them, I just reformed. And it's funny how that worked out. I reformed that way so that the flagellants couldn't charge my Knights Errant. If they charge my fast cav, I'm going to hold. They're going to beat me, and then they can't overrun or pursue into my Knights Errant. That's why I did it. It turned out to be very fortuitous because right behind that house on the left is a Hellblaster volley gun that, as you can tell, I'd forgot about. I can't see it really. And if it weren't for my fast cav, that thing could have seen my Knights Errant. So Empire turn 4, for that very reason, he did not charge my Knights Errant. He just moved his flagellants up. You can see otherwise how he's kind of trying to bring those units over. He's not really being real aggressive getting the halberdiers over to the right-hand side where my knights are going to be coming off the board, coming back on the board. Here he puts his flagellants so that when I do come on the board, I really can't avoid a charge by them, and that's going to be tough. I just don't want to get charged by those guys. Now over here, it was funny how this worked out. In the magic phase, his level 2 wizard, he's yellow just above the house, cast a fireball at the fast cav, and I went ahead and dispelled it. And I actually made a joke about why am I wasting dispel dice on peasants, and I'm so glad I did because during the shooting phase, that Hellblaster volley gun would have opened up fire on my Knights Errant, but he couldn't see me because the yeomen were in the way. So he shot at them, did something like 24 shots, I think. It blew them to smithereens, but they saved my Knights Errant from getting hit. Yeah, and they're dead, of course. So we're still in combat over here. I think I only kill 1 more, so we're still kind of locked in. We go to Brett turn 4. So on the left, with my Knights Errant, I was right in front of those flagellants. Initially, I thought I would charge the flagellants on the right, the ones that were looking to charge me on his next turn. But what occurred to me was I wasn't going to kill them all. I'm going to do some damage, but I'm not going to kill 10 guys, I don't think, and they're unbreakable. So that would mean that my Knights Errant would get countercharged by his halberdier unit and just got slaughtered. So instead, I did a swift reform. I reformed to face the left, and then I walked over that way, and I'm just a few inches away from his crossbowmen on that side of the house. So I'm inviting him to shoot me, and then I'm going to charge him, get that unit down, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, my units come back on the table. I set up my questing knights at the very top to receive a charge, And the other unit, I really just walked forward as much as I could. My thinking is if he charges me with his flagellants, I'm going to flee. And so I just wanted to be able to flee and not run off the board. I took my damsels out of the units so that if they, if they were to flee off the board or any of them get beaten in combat or anything, I wouldn't lose the damsels as well. So that's what I was thinking there. Obviously, I brought the men-at-arms out of the house that they were in last turn. Yeah, and there's just another look over here. So it really is, I gave up hope right from the very beginning of the game of killing everything else on the board. Well, all I'm really trying to do is kill things where I can and not get my guys killed if I can help it. My trebuchet kills a bunch of these guys, does not cause a panic test. We go to Empire turn 5. He decides not to charge with his flagellants. I think he actually made the comment, why did you offer your rear flank to my flagellants? Speaking about my Knights of the Realm unit in the upper right. And I said, because if you charge me, I'm just going to flee. And he's like, oh. And so then you look to charge my questing knights, and I think he thought that I was setting them up for a trap, and so decided not to. And I was very, very happy that he didn't, because I think he would have really hurt me. So he stood still and just kind of moved his troops over. Yeah, that's a closer look. Here on the left, he's just shooting at me with his crossbows. Those two tokens mean that he has two warrior priests, one on horse, one on foot. They both got the unbreakable prayer off, so in order to make them not unbreakable, I've got to dispel it twice, which is kind of a hassle. He shoots at my trebuchet with his cannon. He actually shoots at those bowmen, and it gets a bounce to the trebuchet, kills it. And we go to Brett turn 5. So on the left, my knights errant charges crossbows. My men-at-arms charge the flagellants in the flank. And I decide not to charge them in the front with everybody else because it just would have given him an opportunity to give me a bunch of attacks, a bunch of hits on me, which were unnecessary. That yellow token means they're buffed, so they're strength 4, and with halberds strength 5, toughness 4. So pretty tough little men-at-arms unit there. So beat the crossbowman, decided not to overrun. I have no desire to get in combat with the halberdier unit. He's going to charge me in his turn, and I'm going to flee, and I'm comfortable with that. Killed all but 2 of these guys, which is a shame. Had I killed 2 more, let's say I had 13 strength 5 attacks, but had I killed 2 more, I could have reformed, but it wasn't to be. So Empire turn 6. If you look on the left, he charged my knights errant, and I fled. If you look at the top middle, he took his big unit of halberds with his general as well as the flagellants into the flank of that men-at-arms unit. The problem is I'm only 4 wide where he's hitting me, so he's not getting that many attacks. He's not going to kill me by that much. So he'll have a flank and some more wounds on me, but I have 1 more rank than him now, and unless he can kill 8 guys, I'm going to be stubborn 9 rerollable. So it's not going to really work that well. So that's before combat. After combat, flagellants are dead. He only killed 3 of my guys, which actually wasn't a surprise considering how few attacks he had on me. What was more of a surprise is I killed 5 of his guys, which is really surprising, actually. So Brett turned 6. I was going to charge in, but my Pegasus Knights, even though they're facing the right way now, I never moved them before because the game had been 4 hours long. I was just trying to move things along. If I could have charged the Pegasus Knights and the Questing Knights and my Battle Standard Bearer in, I probably would have done it just for the fun of it. But the Knights of the Realm couldn't make it. The Pegasus Knights couldn't make it because they were facing the wrong way when the turn started. And I didn't want to just give them the opportunity to get all those attacks on my Questing Knights again. So I'm confident the men-at-arms are going to hold, so I just stick around there. My Knights of the Realm didn't rally, but it doesn't matter because the way victory points work now, it doesn't matter if you're fleeing at the end of the game as long as you're still on the table, which I think is kind of silly. So that's before fighting. That's after fighting. He whiffed, killed 1 of my guys. I killed 2 of his guys, probably because my buff was gone. I didn't kill more, but we stick around, and there we are at the end of the game. So I think scenarios are going to become important because these pitched battles are just weird. Oh, by the way, if you look at the right, my 2 damsels, that's because one of them had a miscast and put a wound on both of them. But again, it doesn't matter. Half wounds don't matter. Fleeing at the end of the game doesn't matter. It's just who did he kill? He killed 250 points of mine, which is 2 trebuchets and fast cav. I killed, I think he said it was 700 points of him. I know there was a warrior priest and a big unit of halberdiers, at least one unit of flagellants, crossbowmen. I mean, whatever. But so it's a crushing victory because I killed more than twice of him than he killed of me, even though for the most part it was a bloodless battle. So anyway, my game plan worked out. I mean, that was kind of what I was planning to doing. Is let's just focus on one corner of the table. I kind of thought I'd be able to turn and maybe take out half his army. I never even thought that I would attempt to take out his whole army. So I didn't take out half of it. I took out about a quarter of it. Bet I can't complain. I was able to keep my guys alive. And for the first time in several games, I actually kept all my spellcasters alive, which seems like a small miracle. Anyway, that was the game. Hope you enjoyed it.